Hiawatha's wooing. As unto the bow the cord is, so unto the man his woman. Though she bends him, she obeys him. Though she draws him, yet she follows, useless each without the other. Thus the youthful Hia-watha said within himself and pondered, much perplexed by various feelings, listless, longing, hoping, fearing, dreaming still of Minnehaha, of the lovely laughing water in the land of the Dakotas. "Wed a maiden of your people," warning said the old Nokomis. "Go not eastward, go not westward, for a stranger whom we know not. Like a fire upon the hearthstone is a neighbour's homely daughter. Like the starlight or the moonlight is the handsomest of strangers." Thus dissuading spake Nokomis, and my Hia-watha answered only this: "Dear old Nokomis, very pleasant is the firelight, but I like the starlight better. Better do I like the moonlight." Gravely then said old Nokomis, "Bring not here an idle maiden, bring not here a useless woman, hands unskilful, feet unwilling, bring a wife with nimble fingers, heart and hand that move together, feet that run on willing errands." Smiling answered Hia-watha, "In the land of the Dakotas lives the arrow maker's daughter, Minnehaha, laughing water, handsomest of all the women. I will bring her to your wigwam. She shall run upon your errands, be your starlight, moonlight, firelight, be the sunlight of my people." Still dissuading said Nokomis, "Bring not to my lodge a stranger from the land of the Dakotas. Very fierce are the Dakotas, often is there war between us. There are feuds yet unforgotten, wounds that ache and still may open." Laughing answered Hia-watha, "For that reason, if no other, would I wed the fair Dakota, that our tribes might be united, that old feuds might be forgotten, and old wounds be healed for ever." Thus departed Hia-watha to the land of the Dakotas, to the land of handsome women, striding over moor and meadow, through interminable forests, through uninterrupted silence, with his moccasins of magic. At each stride a mile he measured, yet the way seemed long before him, and his heart outrun his footsteps, and he journeyed without resting, till he heard the cataracts thunder, heard the falls of Minnehaha, calling to him through the silence. "Pleasant is this sound," he murmured, "pleasant is the voice that calls me. On the outskirts of the forest, twist the shadow and the sunshine, herds of fallow deer were feeding, but they saw not Hia-watha. To his bow he whispered, 'Fail not.' To his arrow whispered, 'Swerve not.' Sent it singing on its errand to the red heart of the roebuck, threw the deer over across his shoulder, and sped forward without pausing. At the doorway of the wigwam sat the ancient arrow maker in the land of the Dakotas, making arrowheads of jasper, arrowheads of chalcedony. At his side, in all her beauty, sat the lovely Minnehaha, with sat his daughter, laughing water, plaiting mats and flags and rushes of the past that old man's thoughts were, and the maidens of the future. He was thinking as he sat there of the days when with such arrows he had struck the deer and bison on the muscadine and the meadow, shot the wild goose flying southward on the wing, the clamorous wawa, thinking of the great war parties, how they came to buy his arrows, could not fight without his arrows. No more such noble warriors could be found on earth as they were. Now the men were all like women, only used their tongues for weapons. She was thinking of a hunter from another tribe and country, young and tall and very handsome, who one morning in the springtime came to buy her father's arrows, sat and rested in the wigwam, lingered long about the doorway, looking back as he departed. She had heard her father praise him, praise his courage and his wisdom. Would he come again for arrows to the falls of Minnehaha? On the mat her hands lay idle, and her eyes were very dreamy. Through their thoughts they heard a footstep, heard a rustling in the branches, with glowing cheek and forehead, with the deer upon his shoulders. Suddenly, from out the woodlands, Hia-watha stood before them. Straight the ancient arrow-maker looked gravely from his labour, laid aside the unfinished arrow, bade him enter at the doorway, saying as he rose to meet him, Hia-watha, you are welcome at the feet of Laughing Water. Hia-watha laid his burden, threw the red deer from his shoulders, and the maiden looked up at him, looked up from her mat of rushes, said with gentle look and accent, You are welcome, Hia-watha. Very spacious was the wigwam, made of deerskin, dressed and whitened, with the gods of the Dakotas drawn and painted on its cairns, and so tall a doorway, hardly half Hia-watha stood to enter, hardly touched his eagle feathers as he entered at the doorway. Then uprose the Laughing Water from the ground fair Minnehaha, laid aside her mat unfinished, brought forth food and set before them. Water brought them from the brooklet, gave them food in earthen vessels, gave them drink in bowls of basswood, listened while the guest was speaking, listened while her father answered, but not once her lips she opened, not a single word she uttered. Yes, as in a dream she listened to the words of Hia-watha, as he talked of old Nokomis, who had nursed him in his childhood, as he told of his companions, Chibai-a-bos, the musician, and the very strong man Kwasind, in the land of the Ojibways, in the pleasant land and peaceful. After many years of warfare, many years of strife and bloodshed, there is peace between the Ojibways and the tribe of the Dakotas. Thus continued Hia-watha, and then added, speaking slowly, that this peace may last forever, and our hands be clasped more closely, and our hearts be more united. Give me as my wife this maiden, Minnehaha Laughing Water, loveliest of Dakota women. And the ancient arrow-maker paused a moment, ere he answered, smoked a little while in silence, looked at Hia-watha proudly, fondly looked at Laughing Water, and made answer very gravely, Yes, if Minnehaha wishes. Let your heart speak, Minnehaha. And the lovely Laughing Water seemed more lovely as she stood there, neither willing nor reluctant, as she went to Hia-watha, softly took the seat beside him, while she said and blushed to say it, I will follow you, my husband. This was Hia-watha's wooing. Thus it was he won the daughter of the ancient arrow-maker in the land of the Dakotas. From the wigwam he departed, leading with him Laughing Water. Hand in hand they went together through the woodland and the meadow, left the old man standing lonely at the doorway of his wigwam, heard the falls of Minnehaha calling to them from the distance, crying to them from far off, Fare thee well, O Minnehaha, and the ancient arrow-maker, murmuring to himself and saying, Thus it is our daughters leave us, those we love and those who love us, just when they have learned to help us. When we are old and lean upon them, comes a youth with flaunting feathers, with his flute of seeds and reeds. A stranger wanders piping through the village, beckons to the fairest maiden, and she follows where he leads her, leaving all things for the stranger. Pleasant was the journey homeward, through interminable forests, over meadow, over mountain, over river, hill and hollow. Short it seemed to Hia-watha, though they journeyed very slowly, though his pace he checked and slackened to the steps of Laughing Water. Over wide and rushing rivers, in his arms he bore the maiden, light he thought her as a feather, as the plume upon his headgear cleared a tangled pathway for her, bent aside the swaying branches, made at night a lodge of branches, and a bed with boughs of hemlock, and a fire before the doorway, with the dry cones of the pine tree. All the travelling winds went with them, over the meadow, through the forest. All the stars of night looked at them, watched with sleepless eyes their slumber. From his ambush in the oak tree peeped the squirrel Ajidomo, watched with eager eyes the lovers, and the rabbit Waboso scampered from the path below for them, peeping from his burrow, sat erect upon his haunches, watched with curious eyes the lovers. Pleasant was the journey homeward. All the birds sang loud and sweetly, songs of happiness and heart's ease. Sang the bluebird, the awasi. Happy are you, Hia-watha, having such a wife to love you, sang the opeshi, the robin. Happy are you, laughing water, having such a noble husband. From the sky the sun benigned, looked upon them through the branches, saying to them, O my children, love is sunshine, hate is shadow. Life is checkered shade and sunshine, ruled by love, O Hia-watha. From the sky the moon looked at them, filled the lodge with mystic splendours, whispered to them, O my children, day is restless, night is quiet, man imperious, woman feeble, half is mine, although I follow, ruled by patience, laughing water. Thus it was they journeyed homeward, thus it was that Hia-watha to the lodge of old Nokomis brought the moonlight, starlight, firelight, brought the sunshine of his people, Minnehaha, laughing water, handsomest of all the women in the land of the Dakotas, in the land of his handsome women. Hiawatha's wooing. Longfellow.